Well, people are influenced. When I say people, I mean all of the people on the planet that we call Earth are under the influence of many, many things from one minute to the next. You're influenced by the weather. You look outside and you see it's snowing, so you say, well, I can't go out there with what I have on now. I just have on a light jacket. I'd better get a heavier coat because it's a blizzard out there. And I understand the temperature is of a sort that I'll freeze if I go out with this small jacket I have on. So I'd better get on a heavier coat and better put on some gloves. And because it's snowing, I'd better put on some boots rather than just some dress shoes. And so you are influenced by the weather. So all types of things influence you each and every day from all around you. But the greatest influence among the people of the planet here in the year 2018, and has been for some time, at least as long as I've been on the planet, and many people tell me even way, way, way before then, for hundreds of years, some people say a couple of thousand, I don't really know. But the influence of what I came to call, in capital letters, the system of white supremacy, which I say, as a suggestion, is racism. It's only one form of racism, and that is the system of white supremacy. And that is the greatest influence, the greatest political influence, educational influence, religious influence, any area of activity, economic influence, economics meaning the use of time and energy, according to a compensatory definition that I've given it, and the greatest influence. Influence how? On everything that people do. You are directly or indirectly influenced by people who believe in what? Who believe in mistreating people based on color. Dominating and mistreating people based on color. That's what the system of white supremacy is. That's what racism is. That's all being a member of a race is good for. To look at the color of a person's skin. All right? Not necessarily the color of their hair or the color of their eyes. The color of the hair may change. I mean, people, all types of people, start off with maybe red hair or brown hair or black hair. But as people get older, many, many people throughout the known universe, the hair turns gray. So that changes. But skin color usually sticks with a person for the time of that person's birth, or at least a little time afterwards. Sometimes it's a little, people are a little lighter sometimes when they're born, or they are darker and they get lighter. But basically, the skin color of a person stays the same throughout an entire existence. The white supremacists looked around for people who could be classified as non-white. And when you start talking about skin color, evidently they concluded, even though it may not make exact sense, that white is not a color. White is colorless, which is why they call people who have color colored people. So if people are called colored, being black, brown, red, yellow, tan, beige, or anything that's non-white, then that meant that, I guess, it never fully explained this, that you say as a white person, is white a color when you start talking about people? White is a color when you talk about paint. Now, that's the way they usually use it. Oh, yes, if you go to the paint store to buy some paint, you say, I need some green paint, some blue paint, and some orange paint, and I need some of that white paint that's up there, because I'm going to paint my picket fence white, all right? then white becomes a color. But when you talk about people, according to the white supremacists, it gets kind of confusing, which is what the white supremacists are real good at. That's one of their main things, confusing people. That's why that's in that opening statement. If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will confuse you. Why? Because that's the dominant influence among the people of what we call the planet Earth, right here in 2018, in April. It is the dominant influence. People think about what color somebody is more than anything. That's the first order of business. Before you start doing any kind of economic business, you start talking about economics, the use of time and energy, the movement of money, the movement of materials, and you say this is under the heading of economics, they say, wait a minute, how are people of color going to figure in this? And how are the colorless people going to figure in this? In other words, white, non-white. Well, get that straight before you start talking about anything about moving money around.
Yes.
Who is going to have the money? Who's going to control the value of money? Who's going to get up in the morning and say, well, this type of money is half the value that it was yesterday? And someone will say, well, why are you saying that? And if it's the white supremacists doing the talking, they'll say, because I can say it, and I'll back it up. I just told you people of color, people who are black, brown, red, and yellow, people that I have classified as being non-white, that this particular type of money, diamonds, rubies, or whatever paper money happens to be floating around, is half the value that it was yesterday. And why is it that way? Because I said so.
Yes.
Because I am what? Supreme over all of you non-white people, not only in economics, but in education, in entertainment, in labor, in law, in politics, in religion, in sex, and in war. And if you think that I'm not, try me.